Okay. Perfect. Put it down a little more.
How long did it take to thumbtack each one of those in?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's a lot of CDs.
Holy shit. Okay.
This is music. I forgot how good this was.
There we go. Okay. Good morning, Nova Nation. You're listening to the Morning Roar on 89.1 FM, WXVU, Villanova's only campus radio station. Thank you so much for supporting college radio, for supporting Villanova's only morning talk show. I'm joined with
Nick Williams.
And Mitchell D'Alessio.
Mitch's first time on the pod, on the talk show. How you feeling, Mitch?
I'm feeling good. I was very excited to wake up this morning and be here.
Awesome.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I
No,
was.
you weren't.
I was very excited. I've been looking forward to it.
Hey guys, I ran in here at 8:58, so we're all just getting by, but thanks so much for listening to the Morning Roar. I think I speak for all of us that it's always a fun time, no matter what we talk about.
Absolutely. And hey, MK, what was some sweet tunes we were just listening to? Who was that?
Nick, I think you might have to introduce them because I think you may have a personal connection. I think you might have. Did you recently meet those band members?
Oh my! I think that's right. That was, ladies and gentlemen, that was Back from Zero, the first track off of their EP. The I forget the name of the track. That's the jacket's right there. You want to give us the name of it?
Vagrant Muse.
Vagrant Muse, off of their
Talk about a title.
dude, absolute banger of a vinyl. Well, that was a vinyl, by the way. If for those who are uninformed, that was a record we played off of our record player in the studio.
Yes, Audio Technica, baby, only the best.
Only the best here at WXVU in the stew.
In the stew.
And yeah, speaking of which, Back from Zero, talk about IBS. Hello,
Intercollegiate Broadcasting System Awards.
Not the other thing.
Yeah. The Poop Awards.
Conference.
Conference.
Yeah, it was awesome. I talked a little bit about it on my show on Monday, but Nursing won. What was it? Best Public Affairs Program?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, shout out Dr. Carol Weingarten, my
Absolutely.
queen. If you're listening, Carol, we love you. It was really cool to see our WXVNU Health program. It's really growing here, and it's a really fun department. And Mitch is actually a nursing major. So Mitch, hop on the mic. What do you have to tell people about that?
I was going to say I'm a freshman nursing student, and I'm matched with Dr. Weingarten to do some research. I'm looking into every other college radio that's FCC licensed. And so I'm just kind of going through and compiling data on each station, seeing what they're doing, and then kind of comparing it to what we're doing, and then just going through seeing if they have health podcasts, shows, a health department. Because here we have WXVNU Health, which is health department, which is really cool just to kind of go through and see what everybody else is doing in college radio.
That's sick. But IBS was awesome. We also won Best News Interview. I had the honor and the privilege to talk with Mick Coughlin. He's a former student of vice presidential candidate Tim Walz. So we had a great conversation, like a get out the vote initiative before that presidential election back in November. So that was really cool. Just some really cool people at that conference, guys. The merch room.
Oh, the merch room was sick.
We got a slip mat.
Dude.
College radio poster.
Speaking of merch, I have a gift.
Ooh.
Live unboxing on the Morning Roar.
I think we all know it is.
Oh,
We got the pineapple!
That's awesome.
Tune into our YouTube, guys, at WXVU Radio if you want to watch live behind the scenes of your favorite morning talk show. Nick, do you want to give some context on why we brought a
So
pineapple?
we brought a pineapple to the stew. I spent $30 on a pineapple for the
30?
stew. Yeah, that was $30 worth of fake pineapple.
I
Right
told
there.
him-
That's a
I
pretty
told
good
him he can file for
Yeah, it's a write-off. Don't worry, guys. It's a write-off. But the lore is, unfortunately, Mitch and MK weren't here to witness this glory of an event. But the first day of the conference in New York, one of our faculty advisors organized a breakfast in the hotel restaurant for like continental breakfast before we all went to our conference business. And we went there. I got a couple plates with, sausage, egg, bacon and everything else. And our good friend, Nick Langan, only got a bowl of fruit, notably slices of pineapple.
Shout out Healthy Nick Langan.
So he got this bowl of pineapple, and that's all he ate. He didn't have any orange juice. He didn't have anything else. Just, it was that and maybe water. And when we all got our bills at the end of it, since it was an all-inclusive continental breakfast, all you can eat buffet style, he was charged $36 for this bowl of pineapple. When the rest of us, because we were all charged $36, $45-ish. And the joke of the absolutely outrageous price, and the joke for the rest of the trip was how many units per bowl of pineapple could we get anything else in New York City? And it turns out you can get a lot per unit of pineapple.
36 subway rides.
Yup, ridiculous.
Think about how many pieces of pineapple too. You're probably looking at $8 a pop. If
Yeah.
we did the actual math, he's probably getting under 10 pieces.
Yeah, think about the cost per slice.
Yeah.
That's maybe half a pineapple.
Yeah.
Maybe that's being generous.
Crazy.
Yeah, he probably didn't even get a whole pineapple in that.
Well, I like it. It's like a centerpiece.
It's
You
very
know?
it's very tropical.
People talk at the dining room table, we talk at radio. Now we have a centerpiece.
There you go. It's a mascot.
Nick, tell him who's coming in today. Who are we interviewing? What should we stay tuned for at 9:30? I think Kaylee Brendel's coming in. Kaylee's going to talk about disability advocacy. So that's going to be really cool, especially with recent changes with legislation. I think it's a really important time to talk about that. And Kaylee's super involved on Villanova's campus. So I think it should be a good interview.
Yeah, and we have a call-in line. Want to give that a shout?
Yes. Guys, you can always call our call-in line. We now use Google Voice. So this essentially means, I was explaining this to Nick the other day, that you can call into our radio line and we can answer it from our computer. So you can reach us at 484-301-5335. Again, that's WXVU's call-in number, 89.1 FM. That's 484-301-5335. So that's super exciting. Again, that's on our website if you ever need that. But call in. Imagine
we want to hear your voice.
Exactly. If you have some strong words about pineapples,
Let us hear 'em.
exactly.
Yeah,
We're ready for anything, right, guys?
absolutely.
Yeah.
If you want Mitch off the pod, let us know.
Exactly.
Fire you on your first day.
It's been 10 minutes.
What did we think of Times Square?
Times Square was awesome. I would say I haven't previously liked New York, but after that, I thoroughly enjoyed New York City. That was a great time.
It's been waiting for you, dude.
It has been.
Yeah, a few times I've been up there, it's been it's New York, and then that was wow, I really loved that experience.
And shout out Amtrak.
Shout out Amtrak too.
Lovely train ride home. I had no complaints.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just surprised that more people don't use it. We
That's
were
true.
on both of those trains, and that I wouldn't say they're empty, but they definitely weren't jam packed.
I was gonna say I took NJ Transit back, and I was gonna say it was pretty crowded. I had to walk through a couple train cars to finally find a spot.
That's crazy.
It was
That is crazy. What are our parting gifts? We got 3 minutes here left in our first segment. What do people need to hear? How was the week? Villanova game last night.
Villanova
do you need
game.
To talk about it.
That has to be its own segment here.
Okay.
That's got to be its own segment. But I don't know if you guys noticed, we got a new board.
Okay.
Brand new board. Check it out.
Wow.
That's
Oh, it's got like a snake and what is that? A sparrow?
I think it's a crow.
Dude.
I was gonna say, I feel like all those birds look the same.
I know.
Like
Yeah.
minimal
The
differences.
Supreme Deck, the Zeppelin. Look at the Zeppelin.
That's awesome.
Yeah, actually, this is a sticker.
Really? You
Yeah.
put it on?
Oh,
I cut it myself, and it took about 2 hours and a lot of geometry.
I was gonna.
Wow.
That's very nicely cut. Like I thought that was part of the board.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out skateboards. Shout out our segment on skateboards and sushi.
There's a segment on skateboards.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had like an alliteration fiasco on a Morning Roar episode one day. It was really fun.
Yeah, that was my dad's favorite episode.
But yeah, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. As always, you can tell we love the Morning Roar.
Yep.
Morning Roars is
We're
awesome.
Morning Roar fiends.
Absolutely. You know, I love waking up at like 7:30 in the morning on
Yes.
on a Friday.
We're
You're up at
here for you
7:30?
guys only.
It's not for my enjoyment.
I hopped on the bike this morning for you guys.
That's intense.
Left the house at 8:55. We started at 9:01. That's pretty darn good, right?
Yep.
What did I want to leave you with? St. Patty's Day weekend, boys.
Oh.
It's big. What
Yeah.
are we doing?
I think we're gonna make a beer store run with the guys
And just for legal purposes, Nick is of age.
yes, I am 21.
Yes.
Do not worry.
We are a college radio station.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Run with the boys.
Yep. How about you?
I don't know yet. Maybe Patty Wax.
Yeah.
In Philly, I'm a big Patty Wax fan. I was at JJ's last night. That has died down a lot.
I'm sure it has.
Yes, definitely the allure was there sophomore year. Last night I was like, I could be in bed reading.
Oh,
It was giving that.
That's
vibe.
kind of rough.
It was a little rough. Yeah, a lot of Manayunk things on the come up. Have you heard of
Oh.
Ryan's?
No, I haven't.
Okay, one of my buddies went to Ryan's last night. He said it was pretty good. Yakitori is back.
I've never heard of Yakitori.
The karaoke bar in Manayunk.
What?
That sounds awesome.
And that was closed on the down low for health violations.
Yikes.
So
On
I
the down
really
low?
wanted to know. I was like, you guys only have like 4 things on your app menu. Like, how did you get a health code violation for this? But I'm glad they're back. I've never been, so I'm glad to be back.
Oh, yeah.
I have to give it a shot now.
Exactly.
What karaoke songs you go to?
Oh, Summer of '69, Bryan Adams.
Awesome.
Excellent choice. Excellent choice.
Thank you. What about you guys?
I don't do karaoke for legal reasons. I think my singing voice would probably cause like mass extinction.
I think Wildest Dreams, Taylor Swift. Like
Mm.
I could give you every lyric to that song. Like,
Guys, can we talk about that record store we stopped in?
Yeah, Mitch, want to tell us more about the record store?
Record store was absolutely like beautiful curation. They were
Yeah.
it was beautiful, and they had a karaoke bar down in the basement, which was pretty cool. Got to check that out maybe next IBS
What was
award.
it called? It was like REM.
Something like that.
That was really cool. Or RPM.
RP,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, that
it was
makes
so
sense.
cool because the vinyl store was upstairs. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, this is the life goal.
Yep.
And there were people screaming at like 2 p.m. on a Saturday. Respect.
And hopefully that karaoke part does not have any health code violations.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, no.
Did you buy any records?
I did not, because I bought that record that we just played,
True.
and I thought, I was like, that's really one and done.
What's their band name again?
Back from Zero.
Shout out Back from Zero.
Absolute
That's-
legends.
Shout out Great Night.
That was an awesome night.
Oh, the award show next day, train ride home. It was really, guys, if you want a free trip to NYC, join the radio station.
Absolutely. Get you to know Third Floor Con.
Yes.
Freshmen on campus, trust me, there's a third floor in Con. Just gotta look for it.
Yes. We'll lead you the way. There's also third floor pit.
Yeah, there you
We
go.
are here right now. No one knows there's a third floor, but we are here. Well, folks, before we head to break here, your campus radio station is a winner in several award categories at the 2024-2025 IBS System Media Awards. WXVU is nominated for Best Public Affairs Program and Best News Interview. We also won both. So thank you so much for all of your support this year. That really doesn't happen without loyal listeners like you guys. That's from the hard work of WXVU and New Health students Ryan Batke, Lauren Boyko, Tegan Sullivan, and myself. WXVU will find out if we are winners in March, and we did find out, and we were winners. So that was awesome to hear live. I enjoyed the live award show. What about you guys?
I didn't stay for it. Had to boogie back to Jersey, but it seemed awesome when I seen the videos.
Mitch Irish goodbye.
Mitch bailed.
It's crazy.
I said goodbye real quick and left.
You should have stayed, man.
I was rushing to
It was
the train.
eclectic.
Yeah.
The MMP.
MK was aura farming when she got her name called. It was crazy.
It's just because like the people who were like screaming down the aisles, I was just in my head. I was like, I'm happy for you guys.
Did you hit him with a? Let me up! Let me up!
No, it was a cool, calm, collected, stood up, buttoned the suit jacket, and walked up. It was
Thank
so
you, sir.
clean.
Thank you.
I'm glad I got that on video.
I think I saw my favorite picture of Dr. Weingarten because I like described to my friends the like research I do, and I'm like, oh, like you would love her, like,
Yes.
and like that photo, I like now I could show them like this is who she is, and they're like, oh my god, she seems like the sweetest thing, and I'm like, oh my god.
She's actually my favorite.
She's the best.
I love
Yes.
Carol. Well, folks, thanks so much for listening to the Morning Roar. We're going to head to break here for about a minute, and then we'll be back. I'm MK Kulikin.
I'm Nick Williams.
And I'm Mitchell D'Alessio.
And tune in every Friday at 9 a.m. for more riveting Villanova content only on the Morning Roar. Perfect.
Could you move your monitor a little bit? I'm like leaning over to see you.
Yeah. How do I do that? This way?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I got boogie.
All right.
Hey, this is Mandy Ledbetter, the WXVU Health
Have a good
Coordinator,
one.
and you're listening to
Dude, Mitch, thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is
Radio is
awesome.
where I started. I'm Tom Kelly.
If you want a sticker, there's a box by the,
Take a handle.
yeah, there's a box by the mini fridge.
I'll catch you guys.
Have a good weekend.
Do you want me to shut this?
Sure.
I graduated into commercial radio.
Wait,
and
sorry,
national
Nick.
Radio consultancy. Over the next 34 years, I owned a music research
That's
company,
coming
a Philadelphia radio station, and an internet radio platform. Now, I run a family nonprofit, the Kelly Center for Music, Arts, and
Oh, what else do we
Community.
need to
It
talk
all
about?
started here. Thank you, Villanova Radio. 89.1 The Roar.
Play-Doh paper
Talked
due
about the
tomorrow?
game last
Need
night.
a fresh set of eyes to look
We
over your
talked
final
about-
draft? Haven't even started yet? You can make an appointment at the
Let's
Villanova
plug our
University Writing
Shady
Center,
Dog and
located
Camco.
on the
Do
second
you know the
floor of
dates for
Fowley
that?
Memorial Library.
I
The
know
Writing
Shady-
Center is
Shady
full of
Dog,
professionally
we have-
trained
I need to
tutors who
send you
assist
that.
Villanova
Okay.
students of all
And then
ages
you'll have
on their
5
writing
minutes
assignments,
probably on
from
your
personal
own, or
statements
not
to
even that
thesis
long, but I just have to go
and
get
any stage in
Haley.
the writing process.
Okay.
Hours of operation
Or you
are
can,
Sunday
whatever.
from 3:30 to 7:30.
But she
Monday
needs
through
someone to
Thursday
walk her from the
11:30 to
stairs.
7:30,
Oh,
and
which
Friday from 11:30 to 3:30. Stop in or call 610
Which one is closer to the front
4604
entrance?
to make an appointment today.
Probably those ones.
These ones?
Yes. Welcome back. You're listening to 89.1 FM. 920 here. 921 just changed. Thanks so much for spending your morning with us, folks, on this beautiful Friday.
I would say it's completely overcast.
It really is. But you know, vibes are high in here.
Yeah?
That's good.
It's always a sunny day here in the stew.
It's hard to be up before your peers, but
Yeah.
it's radio.
Shout out to everyone who has an 8:30. I don't know how you do it.
Shout out my roommate up at like 7:40 today.
Dude, I'm a true believer of like absolutely nothing productive happens in either 8:30s or 3 p.m. classes. Nothing productive.
I agree, because I can get work done in my 4 to 5:15s and my 1:55 to 3:10s, but anything in between, terrible.
Absolutely not. I'm spaced out.
Yeah. I'm totally on that bus.
especially after directly after I've eaten.
Yeah.
I would go from Pitt right to a class in Tolentine or Sear. I'm grogged out. I can't do it.
Nick, let's talk about your hat. For everyone watching on YouTube, they now have a direct view of the pineapple. This is awesome. During the break, I had to move my monitor to see Nick better, and now the pineapple is just
So tune into our
staring me in the
YouTube
face.
live stream to see pineapple.
Yes. But
Pineapple
let's talk about this hat.
Yeah. So this hat came from Back from Zero at their performance in the Con Elise.
And how did I not know they were selling hats too?
It came with the record that we bought. Mitch got one, and I think can't remember who else got a record.
Emma.
I think Emma got one as well. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Dude, those guys.
They were awesome. Like live music. Let's just talk about when you're out and there's live music.
Yeah.
Aura goes up by 50.
Absolutely.
50% at least.
And I feel like enjoyment goes up at least 50% as well, because I'd be listening to music that I don't listen to ever.
Yes.
I'll be
The
listening
head
to
bopping guy.
Yeah.
It was like plucky metal, and I was totally into it.
Exactly.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. But those guys are super cool. Go see live bands at a dive bar, or go see live bands literally anywhere else, because those guys are really out there, not for themselves, but they're doing it for all the listeners and all the patrons, and they all deserve a lot of love. Having done it myself, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of passion, and they all make great music. So go to the Rusty Nail, go to a bar.
Go to a bar.
Even if you're under 21, don't buy any alcoholic beverages. Get a Coke or something.
Exactly.
But enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes even things like the Mann Center, Ardmore Music Hall,
Yeah.
obviously that's a 21 plus venue, but there are some that are just really good. What's the one that's similar to the Rusty Nail?
That's the only one I've been to.
Okay. There's one that's just like that, that's kind of a dive that's really good.
Nice.
Because all of our Frankie
Yep.
and Blue Ride. Shout out Blue Ride.
Shout out Blue Ride. Shout out Frankie Spat.
Shout out JP Tampy. Shout out Tony Wright.
Yep.
I don't know the fourth guy's name. Shout out fourth guy.
Shout out fourth guy.
The fourth Jonas brother. I'm gonna come out of here and text JP, and he's gonna be like, I can't believe you didn't know so and so's.
Yeah, every week we find a way to get ourselves canceled here on Morning Roar, and that's the new reason.
Exactly. In about 5 minutes here, folks, will be joined by Kaylee Brendel. We're going to talk everything from what she does on campus to what's currently going on in Washington, D.C. So that's going to be something that's good to talk about, and just stay tuned. I think we can always learn more, especially about stuff that's relevant as this is. Nick, before we get there, 5 minutes left in this segment.
There's 5 minutes left. Yep. And
Where are we going with it?
I think we've got to talk about it. About that performance last night by the Wildcats. If you didn't catch the game, Villanova Wild men's basketball team faced off UConn in the semifinals in the Big East tournament. We were leading at the half by 5. We were leading at the half. It was promising. It was give and take. It was back and forth, but we did have the points advantage, even by a small margin. And something about this team, we play 35 minutes of basketball, and in the last 5 minutes, it absolutely goes down. It absolutely goes out. And I just want to talk to people about it. So that's effectively the end of our season here at Villanova. And it's kind of disappointing, because I think we all know that we have a good team here. We have the leading scorer in the nation in Eric Dixon. And we have Jameer Brickus, and we have Woogle Poplar, who has come out and shown out game after game after game and shown us that we have the utilities, we have the ingredients for an amazing team, right? But we can't really stick the landing, and it's really frustrating, because it's not just like a college basketball thing or a Villanova thing. It's also just a Philly thing. I feel like that whole Philly sports virus has leaked into our system a little bit. And I don't think we have anyone else to blame except for our dear coach. Because we can win games like that. We've won against UConn before. We won against St. Joe's. We've won against a lot of really good teams. But we can't stick the landings at all at the ends of these games. And it's sad to see it happen because we all know that we can win these. And that was a potentially quad one win for us. That would have punched our ticket to get into NCAA, but that's looking like a far cry from this now. Our hope is that we can get into the Crown in Las Vegas this year, but we're definitely not seeing any March Madness play, and it's saddening because it was I want to say a big Villanova tradition, but in the last 10 years, Villanova has won the most Big East tournaments. And it's just so I don't know how to put this concisely or in a clean way, but I just really don't know what to expect from our coaching staff next year with Cal Netchin, who may or may not be staying or going. I know a lot of students are calling out for his blood at this point and are asking for him to get fired. I personally don't think he's going anywhere because I feel like the Villanova community and the Villanova sports program are really into the heritage stuff, right? But they're also into winning. We're a very performance and outcome oriented program here at Villanova, a former blue blood college and blue blood program and D1 level school. And I think that should be our focus, is getting wins and getting into tournaments and bringing back our glory and bringing back the performance that I know we can have with this team and with this program like we used to in the past.
Spoken like a real, true Villanovan.
Amen.
My teacher brought up this example yesterday, and he was like, if 50% of the Villanova student body wanted to fire Coach Neptune and 50% didn't, where would we go?
I think he would stay. He would probably stay.
I know.
And because also his contract buyout is not small.
Yeah.
It's a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
And I know my tuition just got increased by 5%, right?
Yeah,
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about
Hello.
that.
Again?
I know.
We started at 70 and now we're up to 88.
88. Yeah, it's just charge me the $100K at this point.
Yeah.
I'm
I think we're gonna send our kids to college and it'll be 150.
ridiculous. It's gonna be bad.
Yeah. Well, folks, thanks so much for listening to Nick's commentary. I think it's some of the best.
Thank you.
It's like it's front row. It's real. It's raw from a band member.
Yep.
I think that's a unique perspective.
And not to toot my own horn or rub my own back or something like that, but I feel like as a band member and as a student as well, as a band member, I had the biggest stake in the game because depending on how the men's and women's basketballs perform, it affects my ability to travel and postseason opportunities as well. So I have a huge stake in it. I want to go out with my friends to New York City, to Madison Square Garden, or go to the Big East tournament in Connecticut with the women's, and then go to postseason.
Yeah,
right.
That's a good
That's
point.
all very contingent on how these people perform.
Totally true. Well, thanks, folks. You're listening to 89.1 FM. It's 9:30. When we come back, we'll be joined with Kaylee Brendel. She just came into the studio, so it's gonna be a great chat. You were listening to Villanova Radio. Any final thoughts, Nick?
I think grilled cheese is overrated.
Okay, we're going to talk all things grilled cheese coming up at 9:45. And first, we're going to talk DC legislation.
Yep.
You're listening to 89.1 FM. We'll be back right after this.
Do you have a question, Steve?
No.
Hi, I'm Nick Langan. Join me
each and every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. for the Lancaster.
I tried
Oasis,
to
the very
have it be
best
more open-ended
in
because I didn't know.
jazz.
I wanted it to be more.
We'll
what
feature
Kaylee wants
new
to talk about.
tracks and
That's
some
why.
classics from the past. You can
morning.
listen
Good
on
morning.
WXVU
Welcome to the
Oasis
stew.
It's a
Thank
weird
you.
format when we're mid-show. I
No,
know.
you're so good. Sorry, I'm just gonna make sure that my people can access the link real quick.
Right here on V89.1. The Roar.
Are you experiencing anxiety and need a break to relax with a furry friend? Well, lucky for you, Villanova's Office of Health Promotion has pet therapy almost every Wednesday from 12 to 1 p.m.
You're my go-to
Enjoy
sports
hanging
guy,
out
Nick.
with our furry friends from the Pals for Life
Peter
organization.
Skapansky,
in the
who?
East Side
Literally.
Home. They have dogs who love belly rubs and hugs, and a bunny too. We hope to see you there. This PSA is brought to you by
It's gonna be
senior nursing
another
students in the
33-second
Fitzpatrick
one, and
College
then
of
we're back.
Nursing, the Office of Health Promotion, and WXVU Villanova Radio.
Is your Villanova organization, event, or initiative looking to get
Is that
recognized?
Chris Coquino?
Yes.
Oh my god!
You know Chris?
Yes!
WXVU
Oh my gosh, it's so long.
He is a legend.
We invite you to fill out the
Oh,
WXVU
Here,
public
I'll get
service
the headphones on so it
announcement
doesn't distort like
form,
mid
available at
conversation.
Okay.
And then Mike is
Yes,
psa.wxvu.
if you want it closer, the
If
base.
approved,
will
you'll
just be
start
moved
hearing
right
your
What's
there.
a good
message on
distance? Is this it?
WXVU.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Crafted by our own imaging team. Helping to connect Villanovans, we are V89.1, The Roar.
Okay, Nick. We're gonna roll this. Oh, the best
Oh, we like
intro
this one.
bed. Havana, una, na. Havana, una, na.
Hey.
Go crazy! You're listening to the Morning Roar. We have Kaylee Brendel in the studio. Thanks for joining us, Kaylee.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. How was your week?
It was amazing. I had a wonderful opportunity to actually visit Louisiana this week. So shout out to the Louisiana Center for the Blind, which I had the wonderful opportunity to tour.
Wow, that's awesome. Do you know what you're doing next year yet?
So if all goes according to plan, that's actually where I'll be. I'm taking a gap year to pursue training in blindness skills before pursuing my career in disability rights law.
That is awesome. That is super cool. So, Kaylee, if you'll just give our listeners a little overview of, what year you are at Villanova, where you're from, just things you like to do and, why you're here today and what we're here to talk about.
Sure. So good morning, everyone. My name is Kaylee Brendel. Thank you again for letting me talk this morning. I very much appreciate the time. I'm a senior at Villanova, pursuing majors in peace and justice and a self-designed major in argumentation and advocacy, with minors in disability studies, writing and rhetoric, ethics, and legal studies. And I aspire to be a disability rights attorney. So on campus, I'm the president of LEVEL, which is our disability organization. We really focus on fostering a sense of inclusion on campus and advocating. Next Tuesday, we're actually going to have a panel concerning the issue I'm here to talk about this morning, which are the current attacks against one of our most crucial disability rights laws in this country. I think you'd ask where I'm from. I am from Brick, New Jersey, which is in central Jersey. I do not want to have this conversation again. It does exist. It's a thing. I've had to defend it so many times. But yeah, very very proud to be a student at Villanova and grateful for everything that this university has given me. And it's really weird to think I only have 8 weeks left.
Oh, let's talk about that. we're both juniors sitting here with a seasoned
Savor
senior. Savor it?
Yes.
Oh.
It'll go by way faster than you think. I vividly remember trying to haul all my stuff into Catherine freshman year.
Yes.
And now we're here and I'm registering and getting my graduation dress. And it's weird.
Wow.
Dude.
That's scary.
That's 8 more weeks, and then we have to...
Wait, 7 actually. Oh, my God.
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
it's
It's sticking down.
No. Also, let's talk about your 4 minors.
What?
The list kept going there. I was like, we're just throwing commas everywhere.
Originally it was 7, but then things got a little chaotic with one of my...
She says casually.
Well, actually.
We need to scale it back just a little bit.
Wow. How do you have time for all of that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I imagine your work with advocacy takes up a lot of time.
Yes, I'm also very heavily involved in the National Association of Blind Students, which is a division of the National Federation of the Blind. And I'm also the founder and director of an international online choir for the blind. And so those two things outside of Villanova keep me very busy, but very grateful to be a part of everything that I am.
Yes. And I think, I don't know if you recognize her from her speaking voice, but some of Kaylee's songs are played every hour on WXVU, if you didn't know. And Kaylee, I gotta say, they sound so professional.
Thank you so much. I am very, very grateful that when I was making my album in 2021, wow, that's 4 years ago, I had a wonderful team. I am so beyond appreciative of all the work that they helped me kind of put into that, and just they're wonderful, genuinely.
Wow. Where did you record that?
Janklin Recording in New Jersey. So I was very fortunate. It was the best circumstances that could have possibly happened. My vocal coach actually filled in for Mama Cass in the Mamas, like California Dream.
Yes.
Yeah. So
the Mamas in the Papas.
Yes. So when Mama Cass passed away, my vocal coach was one of the people to fill in for her. And her husband owns a studio. He played for Casey and the Sunshine Band. He toured with Cher. So he was very involved. And then I was really fortunate that in Encanto, there was, the guy, and we don't talk about Bruno, there's a line in Encanto where it's like, he said that all my hair would disappear, now look at my head. It's like a line in one of the ensemble parts. That guy actually created the instrumentals for Extra Reason and Mr. Right, which are two of the songs that you guys, I'm very grateful that you play.
Wow.
And then the guy who recorded Blindsided, he helped write My Girl by The Temptations.
That is so
things just really worked out.
You're working with like superstars.
I was so starstruck, like having to be cohesive and keep my head on straight in the studio with legends like that was definitely a task.
Wow. Maybe if you have time, seeing the president of Level and 4 Minors, a Kaylee Brendel WXVU music show may need to have this. She was pulling Casey and the Sunshine Band. Like, your music knowledge is deep, Kaylee.
Thank you.
The bag is there.
I've been very lucky to be surrounded by amazing musical influences.
Yes, that's awesome. Let's get to the brunt of today's interview, why we're here and what's really important to talk about. So, obviously you've acknowledged that you're blind.
Yes.
So let's talk about how that has affected your life and, what Section 504 means to you. And just talk to people a little bit about what that is and what that legislation is.
Yeah. So in order to best explain the function of this law, I'm going to kind of divide it into 4 separate parts.
Okay.
So the first part is probably the part that it's most well known for. So Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 is the reason why millions of children across the country have 504 plans in schools. So if you have ADHD or autism, or in my case, you are low vision, you are going to get accommodations in school that will allow you to succeed academically. And I think that is where I really started to understand the reach of this case and the fact that it would not just impact the 1 in 4 Americans who identify as disabled, but it would really touch almost every family, because I was having a conversation with my senior thesis advisor about the current attacks against Section 504. And I was telling him about this first part of it, which is the 504 plan. And he was saying to me, he stopped me and he said, hold on a second, 2 of my 3 children have 504s. Are you telling me if they strike this law down, like those could go away? And it was really heartbreaking. I just had to say, yes, they could. And, that is the section of 504 that's really going to affect a lot of people. So that's that first part, which is the 504 plan. The second part is the protection against discrimination in the hiring process, or in the, you finding a job. So if you are a disabled person, because of Section 504, an employer cannot refuse to hire you because of that disability. And that might seem like a strictly kind of hypothetical idea, but in the internships that I've been fortunate enough to hold, I've seen that happen. I've worked on cases where that's happened and kind of helped construct briefs, in defense of the clients that has happened to, where they have more than enough credentials to qualify them for a given position, but because of their disability exclusively, they were actually denied that job. So 504 protects you from that. Now, the third part is probably the part that is most well known in the legalese department. So it states that any program or entity that receives federal funding cannot discriminate on the basis of disability. Now, that refers to two different types. So I think it's going to be most helpful if I give a little bit of like a scenario for this, right? So let's say you have a wheelchair user who is a college student. So that accessibility is twofold. First, she has to be able to navigate her college building. There have to be elevators, there have to be ramps, there have to be physical means in place to allow her to access that environment. But second, say she has an additional disability that affects, the way that she learns. Maybe she needs extended time for exams. Maybe she needs flexible attendance. She needs different other supports. Those need to be in place for her as well. If in my case, I need accessible documents. I need to be able to access my material, not in print because I don't read print. So I need to be able to, kind of navigate the assignments in a different way. So that accessibility does not just refer to you being able to access the test, you being able to learn. It also refers to you being able to get in that building where that learning is going to take place, right? So it's kind of, there's two parts there. So as soon as that university receives a drop of federal funding, boom, that comes into play. But that's not just universities, right? That's hospitals. A hospital can't refuse to treat you if you're disabled, which, sadly is something that they had to write into the law out of need. But the fourth part of that law is really something that, unfortunately, this lawsuit that I'm going to get to in a minute is targeting. So that part talks about how disabled people need to receive those supports in the most integrated setting. We cannot be segregated in school, in work, in the community, in any other environment on the basis of our disability. And we cannot be forced to live in institutions. Now, I thought that was kind of a, something that only we had to worry about in the 60s when Willowbrook was a thing. Willowbrook, for those who don't know, is an institution in which disabled people were actually experimented on for medical purposes and malnourished and neglected and basically tortured, brought to the brink of death because of the abominable conditions that were in this institution. I thought that was kind of a reality that we dealt with in cases like Olmstead from 1999. It's not in the past. 36 states still operate disability-based institutions. So this is something that we do have to fight against. So 504 is so critical. And that's not even, there are so many other things that it does. It protects parents who are disabled from having their children taken. Because I've heard stories of parents, who are at the hospital, disabled parents who are just brought their child into the world, and boom, CPS came in and took the child before they even had the opportunity to demonstrate that they could be capable parents and kind of refute those societal misconceptions. So 504 is massively, massively important.
I would just like to say, for those who are not watching our YouTube live stream, Kaylee is doing this no notes. The fact that this is off the dome, and the years of the legislation, I think that's something that, as a poli-sci major, I appreciate, because many of our politicians in office today don't know what they're talking about. And you're someone here who not only knows what she's talking about, you can hear the passion in your voice. So I think from both Nick and I, just thank you for sharing, why you're passionate about this, why it's so important, and, what we can do to learn more and how to be helpful.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Let's get to the big question of what can we as listeners do to be impactful, to fight back against these, attacks that are going against Section 504, and help to be an ally to our, disabled community.
So before I describe the most conducive ways to fight back against the attacks, I think it's important to describe exactly what these attacks are. So 17 states have sued the United States Department of Health and Human Services and alleged that Section 504 is unconstitutional. They want to completely strike the law down. So, and in February, we found out that under the new administration, with the kind of personnel change for the Secretary of HHS, Health and Human Services, who's the defendant in the case, they now agree, right? They also think that 504 needs to be completely struck down. So that was a massive hit. But they were very careful in the way that they communicated their stance, right? So in the original complaint that was filed with the court, they said at the very, very end that they wanted to make the law unconstitutional. You have to really, really look. But it's there, and it's very, very clear and direct. Now, in February, when we found out that HHS agrees that this law that impacts 1 in 4 Americans who are disabled needs to go, they were like, we never wanted to make this law unconstitutional. You know, they kind of tried to cover themselves a little bit because the disabled community had, you know, there'd been a lot of backlash to it, and the disabled community had begun to raise our voices. But they submitted that brief. They never changed the language of the original complaint that they filed. So even though they're trying to, you know, tell the media and tell our community that they don't want to hurt this law, they left that language in that court document that says 504 needs to be unconstitutional as a whole, right? So that was a big lie. So, you know, now the fate of this law is completely in the hands of Judge James Wesley Hendricks. And I looked into some of his prior opinions. It's not the best circumstance that we could have gotten. He has ruled against minorities in the past. I've seen a little bit of a defense bias. But that's the hard part, right? Is that the plaintiff, the 17 states, and the defense, HHS, all agree that this law needs to die. So we have to count on one judge who has historically made rulings like this to save a law when he's got 17 states and the federal government telling him it needs to die. The next hearing for the case is slated for April 21st. We don't know what is going to happen on that day. We hope that it's nothing drastic. We also hope that he doesn't issue an injunction on the law, meaning that the law is dead until an appeals court judge says something different. So really, you talked about the passion before. I have had this conversation so many times over the past month, and it's just honestly terrifying because every day brings me closer to April 21st. I could graduate from Villanova with this law dead. And that is a reality I have to wake up with every day. And so I think that is something that I want to stress to people, is that it could really impact a lot of people. And one more thing too, before I talk about ways to help, is that the supports that 504 has created don't just help disabled people. Think about how many times you've seen a mother with a stroller using an elevator or ramp, or maybe a grandparent that needs that support, or a veteran, right? There are so many people that benefit from the supports created by laws like this, who maybe are not blind, don't have cerebral palsy, are not autistic. You know, like, you do not have to be disabled to, you know, use a ramp or an elevator, right? We've created a society where these accommodations are just commonplace now. And honestly, I'm really scared about a reality where 504 is gone, and by ruling that critical language unconstitutional, that also substantially weakens legislation like the Americans with Disabilities Act and the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And that last one is the reason why IEPs are in place.
Nick, what do you have to add?
You know what? While you're talking, all I think about is that growing up, and currently growing up, I had an IEP, and I currently have a 504 plan because I have ADHD. It helps me with my testing experience, and because I need some extra time.
Right.
And I'm thinking about, well, I don't really use a lot of my extra time now because that's kind of just a stressful environment for me.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about, you know, high school me, thinking about like middle school me, where I really had a lot more trouble focusing on tests. I probably would have done a lot worse. I probably would not have been able to get into this university because I would have gotten a a lot poorer grades will not be able to perform to the best of my ability. And that's just me, right? There are a lot of people who are a lot less fortunate than I am, right? And it's just kind of scary to think about, right? Well,
it's really scary.
It's really scary, right? Because if you talk about,
I can't imagine that 17 states see something that protects this many people as unconstitutional. That's what I can't grapple with.
Yeah, we were shocked when we saw the wording.
Do you know what the argument was, Kaylee?
Yes. I've read the complaint. Essentially, the argument pertains to that third prong of 504 that I talked about before, that any program or entity which receives federal funding cannot discriminate on the basis of disability. They have an issue with that first chunk of that sentence. So any program or entity that receives federal funding can't discriminate on the basis of X, right? That's the issue. They are alleging that violates the spendings clause. It's that whole argument of like you're impeding on the way that people spend money, and you're kind of violating that. But the issue is, and this is something that I want to emphasize too, there is another law that's constructed in a very similar way. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 reads, any program or entity which receives federal financial assistance cannot discriminate on the basis of race or national origin. If this is your justification for shutting down Section 504, that exact same justification can be applied to shut down Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. This case could create precedent which allows that law to be taken. But for that to be the justification is really, really sad, because this law is just, I see it, I live it every day. I see the need for it. And it's not about any kind of, dollar sign. It's about protecting people from discrimination and allowing people to, enjoy the full American dream, and allowing people to just have the equality that the Constitution enshrines for them.
I think that last sentence is the perfect one. The Constitution enshrines for them. Everyone is a citizen of the United States, and this directly goes against those liberties that are supposed to be enshrined for everyone. So, Kaylee, how can we help?
Tell anyone you know. That is the biggest thing, because I have had conversations with my peers. I've had conversations with public safety officers that maybe want to, are giving me a transport. Like, I've had a conversation with every person I can over the past month. Like, how are you doing? Not good. Why? Because this, and, launching into the spiel. Like, the response every time is something to the effect of, oh my God, I had no idea. And like, I was on the plane to Louisiana and I was talking to a nursing student from Georgia. And I said to her, if you have any friends with 504 plans, please tell them, because no one knows. Like, I was talking to a person that works for a government agency that serves disabled people, and she had no idea. They have done such a thorough job of keeping this suit quiet. And I'm so, so honored that I was able to speak with a reporter from USA Today 2 weeks ago. And we actually just had an article drop on Wednesday morning in USA Today about this lawsuit, where I had the opportunity to speak about it. And this reporter interviewed different experts in the disabled community about this. But like, that was our big breakthrough in the media. We really need the public to know about this. Like, we need, the court of public opinion is the one shot we've got left, because these 17 states have Kennedy on their side now. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big ally. We need anybody that we can to know about this case, and we need to raise our voices and let them know how not only unpopular this would be, but how immoral and unethical it is to rob 1 in 4 Americans of the rights that we deserve and that we've had for 50 years and that we have just by virtue of being American citizens. So the best thing you can do, tell anyone, especially people who would be affected in some way. But we need to get the word out. And in a week, actually, I have kind of started a little campaign for this called Judy's League. And it's named after Judy Heumann, who is, honestly, she and her legacy inspires me every day. She is the mother, one of the mothers of the disability rights movement. And she took over a government building for 23 days and went on hunger strikes and resisted bomb threats and had all these horrible things happening. And, she stayed and she fought for 504, and she's a big reason why 504 was signed. And she passed away 2 years ago. And I think about her, when I fight for this, and I think about the people that I know that would be affected by this. And so we started this campaign, and on Friday, March 21st, we're trying this thing called Paint the States Orange. So we're trying to get everyone to wear orange that day and post about it with hashtags related to disability, disability advocacy, disability rights, Section 504. We're trying to do anything that we can to get the media to see us. So please just help us spread the word on this. We cannot let them take our rights in silence.
Well, I know from WXVU, we can definitely make a PSA to wear orange on that day. I think that could be really cool. And we can run that for probably the month before. You said April 21st?
So we want to do it a month out.
Okay.
So I'll talk to you more about the logistics of what we can do. But yeah, it would be next Friday.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, Kaylee, thank you so much for coming into the studio today. I think I'm kind of having trouble finding the words just because hearing you speak, it's really profound. And you can tell how much it affects you. And I think it inspires that want to help in Nick and I, and the want to spread the word. And that's how, we can fight this thing. What would you like to leave our listeners with? Any last words that people should walk away from their radio feeling?
I think, and I have a particular, I want to talk directly to anyone that would be affected by this suit, because I've had, honestly, the moments I remember most from these past month. I had a child tell me, and she was like, I'm scared, right? And have people say to me, I'm scared. I'm scared of what my life is going to look like without this law. And I want to talk to the people for a second that would be affected and that maybe feel like I do and are scared and are sad and are angry. It's not over yet. We can fight this. Even though it feels like the odds are stacked against us right now, the decision has not been made yet. Even if we feel like we know what that decision might be, we still have time on our side. We have over a month before this next hearing. The best thing we can do and the way that we can fight this and try to stop this and try to prevent them from taking our rights is to say how we feel and to speak up and to stand up. The most powerful weapon that we have in our arsenal right now is our voice. And we have to use it. And even though it feels like there's just attacks coming from everywhere, we have to stand up. Every day. We have to tell people what they're trying to do. And we really need to show that America would not be okay with this.
And America is not okay with this.
Nope.
Oh, that's a lasting word from Kaylee Brendel, the president of Level, 2 majors, 4 minors, recording artist, USA Today published advocacy, future lawyer. Kaylee, I think from both Nick and I and from the entire Villanova community, we're not only grateful for what we're doing, for what you're doing, but we're very proud of you. I think it's really cool to see someone, you're talking like you have 40 years of wisdom under your belt, and you're a year older than us, right?
Yeah.
So I think not only seeing how this affects you, but you're not just rolling over, you're standing up and you're empowering people around you. And I commend you for that. So thank you so much for coming in to talk today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you two and the entire WXVU team for giving me a chance to talk about this and to address the student body and the alumni listening and anyone else who can hear this.
For sure. Guys, if you'd like to listen back to our interview, it'll be posted on wxvu.org. You can find any of our past Morning Roar episodes on there. Again, there will be a YouTube recording if you want to see Kaylee's and Nick and I's beautiful faces and our pineapple here in the middle of the radio desk. But you can also listen always at Radio FX. That's an app that you can download on Apple or Android. And you just type in Villanova University, or listen the old-fashioned way. Grab a radio, listen in your car. That's 89.1 on your FM dial. You're listening to The Morning Roar. I'm MK Kulikin.
And I'm Nick Williams.
And we'll be back next time.
See ya. All right, I'm putting Wear Orange in my calendar right now.
So am I, dude. Kaylee, awesome job.
Thank you.
USA Today, that's awesome.
I know.
How was that experience?
It was wild because I've been reaching out to like every reporter that I can.
Yes.
And to finally like get that.
Yes.
Because we're just trying to get as many headlines as we can. So I really